Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to the stream. Hope you're well. Good to see so many of you guys on here already. You're keen. It's nice. It's good to see. We are back in Automobilista 2 this evening, and we're back at Bathurst. Back in April, we set ourselves a target, a challenge to say the least, of driving every single car in Automobilista 2 around Mount Panorama Bathurst and seeing how they compared in lap time. Now, seeing as we last did that in April, we completed the challenge, everything was done, and then the guys at Riser Studios blessed us with some more vehicles to try. So, a bit of housekeeping to do tonight. So we're going to take each of those new vehicles that we've been able to drive just recently and take them back to Bathurst, put them through their paces, and see where they stack up in the overall list of times around Bathurst Mount Panorama. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We had some good surprises actually last time we did this. A lot of cars were quite a lot quicker than I was expecting them to be, so we may well get some more surprises tonight, who knows. But as there's only been 10 cars essentially been released since the last time we did this, we're going to do those 10 cars, and then to shake things up we're going to have a couple of other challenges at the end as well, so stay tuned for that, because we should be able to have some more good fun as we go through. So without further ado, let's jump into the game now, and we will work out what our first car is going to be. So there we go, let me just turn that off on there. Right, so evening everybody, how are we all doing? The Gov, how are we doing? Yeah, I'm not actually hosting tonight, this is all hot lapping tonight. We will be hosting some more races in the very near future as well, so stay tuned for those. We will be back on track with everybody. I know you guys like that, so we're going to do some more of those. Bathurst is a good track though, isn't it, the Gov? Yeah, I fully agree with that. Hey Frank, how are we doing? Good to have you on. Norman's here as well. Sebring's your favourite track, Norman. That's mega. That's a good track as well. Now, this wouldn't be a Challenge the Mountain or Conquer the Mountain challenge video without our trusty notepad and pen. So we're going to do this in the same format I did last time. We're not just going to go through them in order. We've got 10 cars, and I've got my random number generator, which I'm going to use to select the cars that we're going to be doing next. So it's just going to be completely random order. So see if you can recognise or guess the cars that we haven't done yet in our challenge, and see if you can figure out which ones are coming next. So I've got my pen and paper, we're ready to write down some lap times. So let's go ahead and draw our first car, shall we? So got 1 to 10 selected in the random generator. Going to hit generate now. Oh, straight to the top. Number 1 is the first car we're going to be on today, and that is... Let's go into the vehicle selector. I'm going to go right down to the very bottom. No, we're not. Not quite the very bottom. We're in the BMW 2002 Turbo. We drove this not too long ago on the channel when it was released. You guys seem to really love that video, which is awesome. It's gone really well, so thank you for that. I hope you enjoyed that. But we're back in the 2002 Turbo, so straight up, probably the freshest car in the title, and we're going to throw it around Mount Panorama. So, well, again, we're in time trial mode, so everything is reasonably controlled, apart from the driving, obviously. But everything is going to be controlled in terms of the weather, the track condition, all that kind of stuff. So it should be nice and fair. So here we go then. Let's load in, and we should be okay with this because we drove this not too long ago. So shouldn't have too many nasty surprises in store for us. But again, same format. So we're going to be doing a one-lap shootout with these cars. We're not going to try and yeah, unless I really make a right mess of it, we won't do another one. But we're not going to touch the setup either, so it's going to be default setups, which I know might be a bit of a hindrance for some cars. They really are not maybe as good as they could be on default, but it's all part of the test. So here we go. First things first, the BMW 2002. So down to the final corner, we get to reaffirm ourselves at Bathurst once again. This final corner is one which is easily a lap ruiner. So here we go. Top over the line. We're underway for the first car of the evening. Turbocharged BMW 2002. Brake just after the 100 board down to second. Average first corner, but straight into it. No warm-up, no practice. I'll take that. It's good to be back at the mountain. One of the best circuits. One of the most challenging circuits as well, so perfect venue for this particular challenge. Again, just braking after the 100 board, waving away from the apex and into the wall. Right, okay, well we got some time. Let's restart that because I want to give them all a fair try. I know I just broke my own rule then, but hey ho. Let's try and slow it down a bit more. More brakes required. It's because I put the curse on it myself by saying we should be okay because we drove this not too long ago. Never mind. That was our warm-up half lap. This car is still just as good to drive as it was the other week. I know they've made a couple of changes to it as well, so it's not quite in the same state as it was. For one, the wipers work now. Turn those off, we don't need them. So yeah, got some good changes going on with the BMW. I think there's some sound changes as well. Let's brake with 400 this time, down to third. This second corner you really can attack because it's uphill, but obviously just attacked it a little bit too much last time around. Up towards the cutting we go, little lift, and then hard on the brakes, get it turned in. Again, you can attack the hill a little bit there, but got a little bit sideways part way around there, as the BMW tends to do. You do a bit smoother with this. So Giacotto's corner, as I call it. You end up in the wall, which I almost did in a BMW. Down towards the grate, keep it over to the right side, get it turned in for the left. I have to get out the throttle because we're brushing the wall. To Reed Park, over the crest, fight it a little bit through there. Being on the curb on the outside there, just to make sure we don't go off into the gravel. And then Brocky Skyline as we plunge downhill through the S's. Do the dipper. What a great combo of corners that really is there. Little dab of brakes and then down towards Forest Elbow. Make sure we get the car woed up there. Just about managed to. Not a great run onto the back straight though, onto Colwood Straight. But we survived the lap. Now we head down towards the chase, having a bit of a breather down the straight here. Do love this car, it is really good. Flat out in 5th gear. Use all the tarmac on the outside here and then cut in. Bit of a sideways moment. And then hard on the brakes. For the chase. There's a curve on the inside, we don't want to catch that one. Now, down towards the final corner on the lap. Let's see if we can get this right. No, just a big sideways all the way through there. And the lap time is a 2:34.6. So we'll get our pen and paper and we'll write this all down. So BMW Turbo 2:34.638. So for those who weren't with us last time, just try and put that in perspective as to where that sits. So what's sitting around a 2:34? What have we got? So Caterham Academy Cars 2:38. What else have we got in that kind of ballpark? Caterham Supersport's also a 2:38 there, interestingly. 2:36, the Passat hot car. So we're quicker than that. Anything else that's in and around that? Yeah, Lancer R again, 2:36.7. So done pretty well for an older car. So yeah, well done to BMW 2002 Turbo. That's awesome. Right, next car. Thanks, Frank. I do love that thing. It's such a fun thing to drive. Okay, so hit our little number generator again. Number 4 is the second car on our list for this evening. Okay, alright, well we're actually sticking with the same class because we are... No, we're not. GT Classics we're going into now, and we are taking on the Corvette C3 race version. Oh no. Okay, right. Let's load in. Now, we did the race here not too long ago with you guys. You came and joined us for it. We were running the 911 predominantly, but there were the odd one or two who decided to go with the Corvette around here, and it was a very brave move. So not driven the Corvette around Bathurst yet, so this is going to be a bit of an exploration. So hopefully, hopefully we can actually keep it on track. That would be the dream. Okay, big thumping V8s, and of course using the H pattern gearbox for this as well, because it just seemed wrong using paddles for it. Just got to remember there are serious braking distance issues going on with this thing, so need to get it slowed down nice and early for these corners, otherwise we'll be introducing ourselves to the concrete. Okay, we're up and running, sort of. Right, now we can stretch the legs of the big V8. Love the bonnet flex going on the little scoop on the bonnet there. You can see it moving around. Right, I'm going to brake about 150 here. Down to second for turn 2. Still not going in. Should be interesting. Yes, self to catch up. It should be, and it's proving to be so. Alright, use first gear for the cutting. Come on. Get some rear end grip, please. Slide it through there a little bit. A little bit of a dab of brakes just to settle the car, sliding up towards the wall. Very nice. And then aim for the wall again. Oh, I had to get on the brakes because that was not turning. Okay, just playing with the throttle a little bit through there. And dab of brakes over the top. And even more coming down the hill. Oh, a big lock up and a sideways moment. We completely missed the dipper line through there. But we didn't catch the wall. No, we did. And again, locking the brakes down the hill. Just a nice casual drift through Forest Elbow. Not your conventional route over the top of the mountain, I will be honest. The vet's arch nemesis. Corners. No! Don't give it corners, it doesn't like it. This it does like. Corners, no. Right, I'm actually going to chicken out and do a little bit of a lift through the kink into the chase, and now we're about to invalidate the lap because we didn't get it stopped. Right, okay, well we need to set a lap time, so now we've had a run through, we can hopefully try and do something with it. I'm going to have to be braking before the kink there, I think, just to get that thing stopped. Brakes are not the Corvette's strongest point. This time we won't be able to get the dipper right though, so fingers crossed. Here we go. First corner then, get on the brakes nice and early, get it turned in, use the understeer. Come on, power! Despite the fact that this thing doesn't really do corners, I still love it. It's still good. So, spin up over the top of the brow there, nice and early on the brakes, down to second. There we go, that's a little bit neater out of there. Vet versus corners. Right. We went down to first gear last time for the cutting, so we're going to do the same again, try and keep it neat on the exit, which we managed to do. Getting turned in nice and early, because otherwise it's just not going to make it. Getting the brakes down the hill. There we go, that's a better run through there so far. Again, dabbing the brakes over the top of the crest there. Hard back on the power again on the exit. Right, let's try and do something with this downhill section, but without going off. Just playing around with the brake pedal, just on and off, just trying to balance it. We made it through. Plenty of arm waving going on, but we made it through in one piece. And down to the Forest Elbow once again, a nice sideways moment coming out of there. Okay, well that was a better run over the top. This thing has the braking performance of a freight train. The handling of a boat. Find it both endearing and frustrating in equal measure. Yes, Frank. Right. So it's going to brake before the kink this time. I know that's really chickening out. Right. I needed to do it too. Wow. But we got it stopped. Because you get such a head of speed going down the Condenser straight with this thing, you really do have to get on the anchors very early. And this is supposed to be the most sorted version of the two Corvettes, so I've got the street version to go yet. But there we go, a 226.7. And I suppose, rightly so, it should be quicker than the BMW, purely because of the grunt down the straights. But that is a 226.7. 226.7 flat. Okay, so where does that put it overall? And I'm not going to get any positions at this point because they're all over the place. But 226.7. What else is around there? So a Camaro SS road car is 227.99, which is just marginally slower. What else are we around the 226 kind of mark? Lancer RS 227.5. What else we got? So many cars in that Automobilista 2, by the way. It's got pages of these things written down with all the lap times. We've got a spreadsheet, but it's just easier to do it on the book. 226. Is any others that are in or around there? No, not really. So yeah, not too bad at all. So good. We managed to get a bit of a decentish lap time out of the Corvette there. So 226.7, very good indeed. Right, car number 3. Hey Funky, how are we doing? Good to have you with us. Welcome all who are new to the channel as well. There's a few names which either haven't seen for a while or haven't seen at all. So welcome. It's good to have you with us. Hope you enjoy your evening with us tonight. Have a bit of fun. Look at that, we've gone straight to P4 in the standings on that one, albeit 3 seconds off the pace. But the Corvettes are the one to go with around there, apparently. Surprised at that. Where are the Porsches? Oh, there just aren't any. No one's bothered taking the Porsche around here on hot lap mode. It's just all Corvette. Interesting. Okay, right. So what's car number 3? Let's get our number generator up and running. Straight to number 10. Ooh, okay. Things are going to ramp up a notch here. This is, I think, the first newer car to be released after we did this challenge originally back in April. So it's been in the game for a good little while, but we just haven't done it around Bathurst. And I think from looking at it, it is the only single-seater on our list for this evening. Of the ones we haven't yet covered. So that'll probably give you a good clue of which one we're going for. It's Brabham fan car time, everybody! We've done the Lotus 79, we've done the other Formula Retro Gen 2 car, but we haven't done the Brabham BT46B, which, unsurprisingly, is the quickest of all the cars around Bathurst by the looks of things. Unless there's just no one's run anything else either, so... Okay. Let's load in. Brabham fan car. What a piece of engineering this thing is. Downforce galore at all speeds. And when we drove this originally when it was first released, we were given the hot tip that in order to extract the most... Well, extract, that wasn't really a fan pun. It wasn't intentional, but it was pretty good anyway. In order to extract the most performance out of the car, you have to keep the revs high because the fan is geared to the engine RPM. So you keep the revs high, the fan spins faster, the more downforce you get. So expect plenty of RPM going on right now. So here we go. This is the Brabham fan car, and yeah, if we didn't have any grip with the Corvette, we'll probably have quite a bit now. Here we go. Oh, this thing is absolutely crazy. So first gear is going to be our friend through these slower corners. And We're up and away. Okay, gotta be quick on the old gear shifts. Especially coming out of first gear up the straight. Already got a fair amount of pace on. I'm not expecting any lift over the top of the brow there. Oh, the thing's mad. No. Well, we kept it off the wall, but can't say it's a particularly quick lap so far. Now, I'll get some downforce going as the speed builds over the top of the mountain here. I reckon we can probably go significantly quicker. Changing up through Reed Park. It's mental. So even though there's plenty of grip at the high speed, you still have to wrestle it a little bit at the low speed. Just like that, you're over the top of the mountain in no time. And we're already on our way back down the hill. Definitely a lot more time on the table through the cutting. Made a big difference. Flat out on the rev limiter. Launched it over the curb at the chase. Yeah, I was just warming those tyres, Frankie, absolutely. From an animal to a totally different beast, you're right, also get you, absolutely. Okay, well, we did a lap. And it was a 152... Oh no, that's a world record, haha, not mine. So what lap did I do then? That was a 158.7. I am going to break my own rule again here. Just because I think for a car like this, you've... Yeah, I kind of went into that not really prepared for just how much sliding around there was at low speed. So let's do another one. Well, we got the time to do it. Just need to be a little bit gentler with the throttle on the slow speed corners. Right, so this time we should be okay. Pretty sure there's only 5 gears in this thing. Come on, give me that grip. Gentle on the power. Feed it in, up the hill. That's better. Okay, let's be a bit braver over the top here. Yep, flat out through that. And through there almost. Just checking it at the dipper that time, hoping that I judged it just right, which I just about managed to do. You find this one to be much more wild than the Lotus 79. Yeah, it is. It's mad. I think the 79, if anything, actually feels a bit more planted. Heaps of power from this thing. The Alfa Romeo engine. Right, this time on the brakes. Okay, bit of a cleaner lap, so hopefully we'll be justified in doing that other one. He says, almost running off for the last corner. Up and over we go, a 156.2. So that was our best lap of the session, so that's good. It would look a bit silly if that was slower then. Okay, so 156. We've broken the 2-minute barrier for the first time this evening. Probably looking at the lineup. Oh no, it might not be the first and only time. So Brabham BT46 be a 156.261. Now obviously that's going to be up there with the other single-seaters that we've already driven from similar periods. So where was the Lotus 79 then? What was that time around here? Let's try and find that. Somewhere in my load of notes. You'll find a Lotus 79 somewhere. There it is. Okay, so our Lotus 79 time was a 157.2, so we have comfortably beaten that by a second in the Brabham. So yeah, that's pretty good. It's good to know where it stacks up in terms of overall speed in its class. Cool, right. Third car. Third car? Third car. Done and dusted. On to number 4. Let's get our number generator back again. Let's see what we've got next. That thing was pretty wild, I have to admit. And we've jumped up to P2. Still good 2.5 seconds off the leader, but obviously we're just running default setup, and you can see there's a little gear icon, or wrench icon there, so he's tinkered with the setup a little bit. So definitely more time from the car, but in its default form, we did pretty alright there. Okay, next number on the list to draw out is number 2. Okay, so we have driven the Corvette. Now it is time to drive its class friend, the 911 RSR. This could be good. I'm looking forward to this one. So it looks like they've got separate leaderboards for the RSR and the Corvette, which is interesting. Probably because the RSR is going to be considerably quicker. I would hazard a guess, anyway. But we drove this car a couple of weeks ago. We did a race round here in this car, which many of you joined in for, which was good fun. So nice precursor to what we're doing this evening. We can run this car around Bathurst once again. So looking forward to this one, that's for sure. Got to remember there's not as much high-speed grip, so I can't go flat out over the top of the mountain. I've got to be a little bit more careful. So here we go. Beautiful flat 6 rumble from behind. And light steering. I feel so slow after that Brabham. Braking at the 100 board. Nice little slide on the exit there. Feeling quite loose actually coming off there. Through the gears we go. To 5th gear. A little bit of lift off at the top of the hill there. Alright, braking about 125 I reckon. Still got 70s brakes in this thing. Playing with the throttle just slightly through there. So a little double brakes I reckon before we go through this little left-hand kink. Not first gear into the cutting, that's not the way to do it. We got away with it, so it's okay. Oh, that was close. Around quite a bit underneath. Try to balance it down through the S's. Go to the right side. Launch it into the dipper. There are short shifters to keep the rear end ploughing forward. I used to go down to first gear with the Brabham. I've gone down to it twice now, and it's not really been the gear of choice. This was still one of your fave cars, is it, Funky? Along with the new 2002? Yeah. That is a good car, this one. Right, flat out through the first part of the chase. Pop a wheel up on the curb, straight on the brakes. Definitely can brake a lot later there than we could with the Corvette. Then we're probably carrying significantly less speed down the straight. The give it a second for the final corner. Oh no! That final corner always throws up that little spanner in the works. So not the cleanest of laps, we'll admit, but that was a 2:25.4, which is I think it was about a second quicker than the Corvette. Yeah, it is. So the Corvette was 2:26.7. So the RSR with quite a scruffy lap really, 2:25.428. So we know which one's quicker around Bathurst. So that's good. Yeah, fun car to drive, that one. It was a bit of a handful over the top, just trying to guide it through the downhill section there. But no, good fun car to drive, that one. Enjoyed that one. Okay, next up, next car. Right, now we jump into the first foray for the evening of one of the new classes introduced since we did the challenge, Conquer the Mountain challenge, and that is of course GTE. So which car have we just picked for GTE? We have picked the yellow peril, the Corvette C8R. This could be a good ride over the top of the mountain. Looking forward to this one. The Corvette's been growing on me. This would be significantly better to handle than the previous Corvette we just drove. But then you would expect that there's a significant difference in technology. But yeah, this Corvette in GTE, it's growing on me a little bit more in terms of its drivability, its sound, and things. Obviously, I'm so used to having the GTE or top spec GT program of Corvette having that proper rumbly V8. So this flat plane crank version is very different in sound, but it does still sound really cool, so I do like it. And it's a nice looking car. I know it's mid-engine, not front-engine like a traditional Corvette, but yeah, still good. So, how can it handle Mount Panorama? Let's go find out. Little letterbox of a windscreen to look through. Oh wow, instantly there's a whole load more grip available, mechanical grip compared to everything else we've driven. Wow, you can really just monster that first corner. You love the sound of this thing, Salty? Yeah, it does. It does sound good actually. I do like it. Very different sound of a V8 that you would normally expect, but still so good. Right, second corner then, where are we braking here? About 100. Little waggle through there, but we're okay. And then he's nosed into the wall. I was a bit brave going into that first part. I didn't lift, and I think I probably should have done. But it just means we get to try it again. Get to drive this car once more. Yeah, the usual rule for this challenge is wall grazes, fine, we can get away with that. Nose head-on impact into the wall, yeah, probably best to start again. Oh dear, that was a worse first corner, but it can't possibly be a worse cutting than last time, so that's what we're going to aim for. Here we go. Braking 100 board. It's nicer through that. Get on the power so early with the amount of grip available to us. Right, little double brakes. Down to second. Much nicer through there. Get back on the power. Traction control kicking in on the exit. And again. Little lift through Chicotto's corner. And then we're up over the top of the hill. How fast can we take this? A little bit of a lift for confidence. Back on it again because we've got loads of grip. Through Reed Park, over the crest. Chuck it in. That was very nearly flat through there. Feels almost like it's on rails down the top of the mountain. Snap of oversteer on the exit there, but we're all good. It gets loose on you out of the blue. Yeah, it is a bit. That was a bit odd. That I think that was probably mostly down to me being just too enthusiastic on carrying speed for the first part of the cutting, but so far on this lap it's felt pretty good. So here we go, braking for the chase. And once again we're just simply jumping into these cars, there's no practice involved in any of them. So of course we could probably go a fair amount quicker if we actually tested each car thoroughly and gave it the time it deserved, but that wasn't far from breaking the 2-minute barrier as well. 2:01.7, that's a good lap time. But the GTE car felt so planted over the whole lap really. I mean, a couple of little oversteer moments at times, but in general, loads of grip. So 2:01.739. So, just because we've got to check out what its competition is, other than GTE, obviously. So what's in the 201 kind of bracket? We've got... what have we got? It's kind of a grey area. So we've got the Formula Retro V8, which is a 203. McLaren M24, which is another F1 single-seater, was a 2028. What else? Have we got anything else close? They're all kind of in that 215 kind of mark around there. So the F309, so the F3, one of the variants of the F3 car was a 206, but yeah, so pretty good. I mean, it's quite close to breaking that 2-minute mark. I wonder whether, I mean, there's 1.7 seconds on there, but I wonder whether the M8 or the 911 might just manage to do that. It'd be interesting to see. But that's very impressive. I enjoyed that lap actually. That was really fun. Cool car. Right. What's next? What have we got next? Hit the generate button. And we've drawn car number 6. So we're staying in GTE because they're obviously quite close to each other, those two numbers, and we're in the Porsche 911 RSR. So we're going to find out very quickly, just how this compares to the Corvette as to whether it's quicker or not, or whether we can get into that sub 2-minute barrier. I don't reckon we can, but we'll try our very best for you guys, because you know, we've got to do what we can. V8 Supercar, we've run the V8 Supercar in the original Challenge the Mountain Challenge. However, don't worry, we might have something for you later. We're going to get through these cars that are brand new. We're getting through them pretty quickly, but we have got some other challenges up our sleeve as well, just to keep the stream interesting for you. So here we go, this beautiful Porsche 911 RSR. We have one RSR on the stream so far this evening. Very different vintage, but this one's going to be fun. Yeah, I knew you'd be all about this one, Gareth. Now we're talking. Just wait till you listen to this. You reckon the RSR is going to be a bit slower, Frank? Okay. Oh, so good. Right. Up and running in the RSR. So we've had a practice run in the GTE car, so should know a little bit more of what to expect this time. So busy going off the heads-up display on the right-hand side there, rather than the shift lights on the dash, so I need to rev it out more. Oh, it sounds so good. Right, time of brakes. That is a good short shift up through there. Keep it absolutely flat out through there then. And there. Little lift because I was a chicken. Hard back on the power through the dipper. So good. You reckon it's going to be quicker, Gaz? Thinking the V8 Supercar... Oh, sorry, you're thinking the V8 Supercar might be closer to 201. Yeah, I'll check that time and see what we actually did in that. I think they've made some changes in the V8 Supercar as well since we drove it, but we'll look back at the time. Here we go then, through the chase. .159 incoming, reckons Gareth. Nicely planted through the final corner. Ooh, it's a 2035. You're alright, Frank. Felt quicker. I will be honest. I genuinely thought that was going to be quicker than the Corvette, just because I think it was hooked up everywhere. But interesting. All right. So Porsche 911 RSR. Again, remember in standard trim, no default, no setup changes. So it's a 2:03.518, which is surprising. That's nearly 2 seconds slower than the Corvette. And the Corvette, that wasn't... Was it fully clean? I don't think it was. That's a big difference. Oh well, let's see if the M8 can do it. See, Frank knows the deal. But it sounded amazing. You can't deny the sound of that thing. Unbelievable. So good. Rubbish. That's alright. We'll put you in it next time, Gaz. I'm sure you could do it. You're an RSR expert. Okay. Nope, we've had that one. We've had that one. It's going through the... Oh, okay, right. Well, having had no GTE whatsoever, we now have all three of them in quick succession. We're in the M8. So you're going to get a back-to-back demonstration going on here. So let's see what we can do with the big boy, the BMW M8 GTE. Yeah, the RSR just sounds quicker. You're right. Absolutely right. Wow. Okay. I just saw the world record in fact, the Nemesis is 154. So if we don't get under 2 minutes, then yeah, we don't deserve to be honest. But this one might be quicker. I think the turbos on this, I think, might help us in a straight line, possibly. Yeah, looks quicker too. Yeah, it does, doesn't it, really? The RSR looks amazing. You reckon the M8 will beat both, Funky? Okay. Man has spoken. Let's see what we can do with this thing. Lots of crackle on the overrun of the M8. And a lot heavier steering too. Okay, we're up and away. There was an apex at turn 1, I promise. We didn't find it, but there was one there. Yeah, the RSR is absolutely stunning and fun to drive. Alright, come on M8. There's also an apex back there as well somewhere. We'll find one on this lap. Traction control is having a bit of a hard time keeping things under control here. Mad that you can go flat out through there. Oh, right over the curb. Now this thing is significantly longer, I think, than the other two, and it definitely feels that. Coming through this twisty section, this feels a lot more stable. Oop, crunch. Any chance of an apex on this lap? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I reckon M8 should be king of the hill, so to speak, says Frank. We've got some nice green sectors, but then that's to be expected considering we've not driven this car around here yet. Flat out through the chase, of course. The stutters just to throw us off our groove. Stop it! There we go. Thank you. I don't know why it does that. Every now and again, the AOS2 just throws these little stutters at us just to keep us concentrating. Well, we finished the lap anyway, and it is the quickest of the three cars. Oh dear, that was a bit of a juddery end to the lap, but 2 minutes. We are quickest in the M8. A 2 minute 0.680. So a big differential in times between all the GTE cars, really. Big difference, but the M8 is significantly the quickest. So that one then, being a almost, I mean 6/10, we could have found that easily around there, I'm sure. So let's try and find the V8 supercar for Funky, because you wanted to know what we did in that. Let's see, where is it? So many cars. V8 supercar. Ah, see, it was significantly slower. 2086 when we ran the supercar. Maybe we'll write some of that later on. We'll see. So we have 3 cars left in our list of cars for the evening, which are brand new, of course. So GTE is now completely crossed off. Yeah, no Apexes were hurt in this lap. No, they weren't. No. Yeah, that's definitely where my 6/10's gone. Yeah, so GTE is done and dusted. We have completed GTE. Completed it, mate. Right, so number 2, we've done number 2, done number 1. Number 3 we have not done. And this time we are still rocking V8 power, but we're also probably going to be actually rocking, because it's time for the street version of the Corvette C3. Now, having seen some of the videos out there of people driving this more recently, there's a fair amount of body roll going on. So we're not going to change the anti-roll bars. We're going to leave it in its standard guise. So yeah, it would be interesting to see how it handles the mountain. Was it actually going to be any better than the race version, I wonder? You never know. It's going to be a bit slower in terms of its overall pace, but whether the extra body roll is going to help with a bit more grip, who knows? Yeah, so the V8 does lack downforce despite its power. Yeah, I know they've made some changes to the V8, so maybe that might be a bit quicker now. Obviously, bearing in mind that although we're setting lap times here, we're probably nowhere near the outright pace of some of these guys. I mean, I know Craig, the Nemesis is just, yeah, super quick, so always going to be a struggle to keep up with him, but this is all relevant to what I've done in with the other cars as well, so that's what it's all about. Right, here we go then. It's back to the Corvettes. Oh, we're diving on the brakes. And we're rolling through the corners. This thing is soft. Softer than butter left out in the sun. Here we go. Down to turn 1. However, if anything, it actually feels nicer to drive than the race version, which is ridiculous to say. This one's much more of a leisurely of a drive. Yeah, it is what a gentle kind of a time attack of the mountain. But we'll see. Might get a bit more lively as we get up to the top. Over the exit curve. Actually feels a little bit more pointy than the race version. We can actually get the car turned in. Bogged down out of there. Use all the torque of the V8. Come on, pull it up the hill. Playing with the throttle, trying to make sure we don't graze the wall there. Bouncing through Reed Park. Or Trillamy, should I say. There we go. should we repark now? Here we go, down towards the part of the track which will cause any form of imbalance to be made manifest. And here it comes. Don't hit the wall. We didn't hit it. Probably also spun. And the lap time's been invalidated anyway. Okay, I guess we're going to have to just do that again then, aren't we? Vet versus Hill equals a win for Concrete Wall. Yes, it was on that occasion. Look at its interior, then imagine the smell of faux 70s leather and neglected ashtray. Very period feel going on with this thing. Right, so this time we know what we're dealing with. And we know what to expect. And we know we need to be a little bit more careful coming down the hill. Tip it in. This thing's nice. It's actually really fun. Something about cars with race cars with really soft suspension just makes for a really fun drive. You know, things like, for example, Lotus Cortinas or the Opalas, the old Opala stock cars in AMS2. Good fun to throw around. Yeah, definitely have the car more under control going uphill, purely because we have gravity stopping us from doing anything nasty. Better way through the cutting that time through. Little lift to get the car in through there, it's better. Right. Now we start to have some more downhill sections, so we've got to keep under control. That's the key. But then isn't that always the key? Right. A bit slower this time through the S's, please, Phil. Ski Sunday through the S's. Okay, we survived that. Now we just need to get through Forest Elbow without rotating. Right, okay. Well, let's do that again. Let's do that again. We made it down the hill, almost. It just seems to just get away from you. As soon as that track drops away on the left-hand side, you lose all forms of connection with the road, and then all of a sudden you're trying to stop a slide and you just can't. It just doesn't let you. Well, the street Corvette's definitely getting its money's worth this evening. It's okay, we have plenty of time. We've only got a couple of new cars left to cover anyway, plus our extra challenges, so looking forward to doing something a little bit more. Third time's a charm, yeah, absolutely. We'll just disregard the fact that I just tried this twice already. Right. Double brakes, get the car settled. Pop of explosion on the overrun. Here we go. Lift, turn in, power on. Nice. Right. Too bad, not too bad. Right, okay. Lift off oversteer over the top of the crest there. Not the best time to do that in high revs. Right, slow it down. Don't go down to second too early. It's better. It just gets a wobble on, and then this no going back. Right. Nice and easy. We did it! Okay, right. Now we only have 2 more proper corners to negotiate. And we can safely say we managed to lap a Bathurst in the Corvette C3, the street version. Only 4 gears, so we're going to be on the rev limiter here. Javier, welcome. The only car in MS2 that makes you feel like a getaway driver. Perfect robbing banks in the 70s. We need some open world type tracks to enjoy with this thing, don't we, really? So on flat kind of corners, no problem, but you add any kind of gradient into the mixture, and the Corvette says no. Ooh. Deep into the last one. There we go, we've made it across the line. We've done it. We've made it, everybody. A 2:39.0. Comfortably the slowest of the evening so far. So Corvette Street 2:39.022. 5 seconds slower than the BMW 2002, which again you would expect, it's in a different class altogether. So where does that put it? 2:39, is anything similar? It's slower than the Merc Copa truck. That's on a 2. It's on a. Oh, I've lost it now. Where was that? It's a 2:46. The MAN truck is 2:43 as well. So yeah, slower than a truck. drives like one though. So there we go. More ludicrous fun. Right, 2 to go. The cops only need to stake out the first off-camber corner on the escape route to find the stranded in a ditch. They'll just position themselves there permanently. Just, right, okay, we hang out here, we're going to bag ourselves a criminal today. Took a week, yeah, it did. It took a, yeah, it felt like a week. We were a long way off there. Good 3.2 seconds off the quickest. But he's not changed anything either. Oh, well done, fair play. You haven't changed any roll bars. That's a good effort. Okay, so 2 cars to go. We need number 5 or number 9 to wrap things up for this segment. So what's it going to be first? Keep hitting generate until we find one. It's number 5. That's the the next one to come up. Okay, so this one, we've done the majority of this class already. This is another one that was added to this particular class when the USA pack came out. So if you've guessed it already, well done. If you haven't, it's this, the BMW M4 GT4. This was added on later, so we had all these 4 GT4 cars here already, and then with the release of the GTE cars, they kind of snuck in slyly on the side this M4 GT4 as well. So yeah, so this would be a good one. Now, last time I drove this, it was very, very tail happy, and as you've seen so far this evening, tail happy is usually pretty exciting at Bathurst. So if we can do this one in the first take, in the first lap, I think we'll be doing well. So here we go, BMW M4. We've driven this car in so many different sims nowadays. Obviously it's appeared in a lot of things. We've got Race Room, we've got, of course, Assetto Corsa Competizione, we've got iRacing, of course. So the M4 GT4 has now become quite a regular occurrence in sim racing. So now we get to experience it in AMS2 as well, so that's good. I made a brew and came back and you were still going. You sure it wasn't a different lap, guys? Can't possibly have taken that long. How long does it take to boil a kettle? Right, M4 GT4 time. Some more 6-cylinder goodness. Great sound as well. Although, despite knowing that this car was a little bit tail happy, I am expecting more grip than the Corvette. Just putting that out there. Yeah, still loose-ish on the rear end, but it's okay. Just need to be aware of that and not be too excited with my right foot. Otherwise, we'll be doing some loops somewhere. Up under the Fanatec Bridge, over the crest. Back to third. Big wobble mid-corner. So yeah, it is amazing how many new cars have been introduced since last time we did this. I was also surprised how long ago we actually did this. Back in April, it's a long time ago really. This thing is quite happy to go sideways. Oh, that's close. Hey Marty. How are we doing? Oh dear, this is one super timid lap. Jason, thanks for subscribing. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the team. As a teammate of Sim Racing Bible, good to have you with us. Thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying me making a fool of myself at Bathurst. Oh, this thing, man, it's... Although it's sideways, quite often, it does actually drive quite nice, and it's reasonably controllable. Yeah, lots of new cars, and they're not slowing down yet either. No, I'm sure they're not. Looking forward to seeing what else they come out with. We've got a couple more American packs to look forward to, bringing some new stuff, and of course there'll be some other bits and pieces thrown in for good measure as well. Washing out quite a lot through the chase. Not second gear through there. Man, this feels really pedestrian, this lap actually. I feel like I've not extracted much out of it at all. But we've kept it going in the right direction, which is the whole aim of the game. We're up across the line, we're at 220.2. So, basically a road car GT4. Yeah, it's they're designed to be fairly close to the road car alternatives with a cage and some safety stuff added on. Yeah, so it's not too far off a road spec car. A couple of modifications, obviously, but yeah, on steroids is probably the way to say it is. But yeah, so there we go. So BMW M4 GT4 at 220.264. So compared to what we've driven so far this evening, that is, what have we got? 1, 2, 3. That cannot be right. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the 4th quickest car we've driven this evening. Is that surprising or what? So the Brabham's the quickest so far, 156. Then we've had the 3 GTEs, all in the low 2-minute bracket. But everything else, I suppose it isn't surprising really. Just looking at all the else, we've got the 2002 Turbo, the 911 RSR, old one, the 70s one, and then the 2 Corvettes. So yeah, that's probably not surprising at all. So ignore that comment. But yeah, so that was the M4 GT4. Could have gone a fair amount quicker. I was feeling a little bit intimidated by the rear end, actually, we'll be honest. I'm sure we can get more out of that. So that leaves one car left. Does anyone know what that is? Any guesses of what that might be? Let's go back to the menu and find it. Let's go back to the menu. Yeah, definitely Indy cars are coming. Yeah, they said something about ovals, so whether that means Indy or hopefully there's some stock cars in there as well. That'd be fun in terms of NASCAR type stock cars. I know we've got the Brazilian stock cars. Despite that timid lap, we're actually position P5 on the overall leaderboard. Interesting. Okay. So I think you did a 216 with the BMW M4 in ACC around Bathurst. Okay. Yeah, you probably could. You probably could. I think if we properly went into this car and actually tried to tame that rear end a little bit, we probably could get down reasonably close. Now, obviously, the top guy here is on a 218, and we're only 1.8 seconds off the pace. Nearly 1.9 actually. But yeah, we could definitely get more time out of that. Absolutely. Racing USA Part 2 up next month, you believe? Oh, okay. Well, that'd be nice. That would be nice. I'm looking forward to that. Right, so the final car for our challenge, or Conquer the Mountain challenge, is going to be quick. We're in the Cadillac DPI. another one of the cars released in the Racing USA pack, part 1. This thing, 580 horsepower and 6-speed sequential and aero to boot. This could be a pretty rapid ride around the top of the mountain, so I'm going to have to hang on to this one just to keep up. I think it's going to be very quick. We've driven all the P1 cars around here as well, so that includes the Ginetta, it includes the I can't remember the name of the thing now. The Metal Mario AJR, that's the one, which has the various different engine packages as well. And they're all super quick cars to drive, so this is going to be fairly similar to that. Be interesting to see where it stacks up, whether it's quicker than the Ginetta or the other P1 cars. So this should be good. Right. Again, more V8 power. And we're going to be releasing it onto the mountain. The DPI is kind of forgotten, I find, in AMS2. Here we go, up and running. Alright, plenty of grip already to be found on the track, so let's go for it. Be confident, Phil, we can do this. We can get a good lap time out of this. Right, let's brake nice and late. Straight back on the power again. Oh, that's quick. Right, now I'm going to lift here just because we run out of track very quickly. Just lifted there, just to make sure we got through that. That was flat. That was very nearly flat. A little bit of an understeer washout to the dipper, didn't quite catch the camber. And lock up into the forest elbow, but we're through. Do you reckon a 150 for this one, Gaz? Yeah, good luck, thanks Martin. It's not been too bad so far actually. There's that one little error into the forest elbow, but so far so good. Right, flat out through the chase. Braking nice and late. Use all the aero. Down to the 100 board. Big curve on the inside. We're up over the line. Not far off, guys. 153.6. Comfortably under the 2-minute barrier. That was good, actually. Not quite as scary as I was expecting it to be. So 153.617. Okay, so let's find some other P1 cars and see how that compares, just out of interest. So where's the Ginetta G58, I think it is? It's such an effort trying to go back through these and find them, because they're not in any kind of order as well, so I did one random order. So Ginetta G58 was a 157.4, the DPI 153, so comfortably quicker than that. What else have we got? So Metal Morrow, the V8 was a 158. The Honda was a 153.7. Okay, so we're quicker than that, just about. So kind of on a similar pace to those particular cars. So there we go. That now has completed our list of cars. So every single car in AMS2, currently up to this date, we have driven a lap around Bathurst and registered a lap around Bathurst as well. So what we'll do is we'll add these times into the overall leaderboard and we'll post them on our socials as well, so you can see and have a look through and find your favourite car and see where it stacks up against everything else. So we'll get that taken care of, but the stream doesn't end there. We could easily just go, nope, that's it, we're done, we're finished. But we have some other things we want to try and do tonight. So last time when we did this, we found out some really interesting things. We found out obviously of the fastest car around Bathurst, we found the slowest car around Bathurst, but we also found a few cars which were really fun and just a really great drive around the circuit. So we're going to do a bit of a greatest hits going on right now. So we're going to go back through some of the really fun ones that I remember from when we did this. And we'll get your suggestions as well. So, you know, if you have a car that you really thought was good to drive around Bathurst, then shout out in the comments as well. And we'll put some of those in there as well. So we'll do some kind of greatest hits, kind of glory laps, we can say, just to revisit some of those things. Then, once we've done that, I've got another challenge as well. So our fastest car, spoiler alert here everybody, fastest car that we had last time out was, or what was it going to be other than the Formula Ultimate? So that lapped Bathurst in a 1:37.1, which, you know, considering we'd done that in the DPI, which was pretty rapid, to go 20 seconds quicker in the Formula Ultimate, you know, incredible. And the slowest vehicle, because it's not really a car, that we took around Bathurst was the rental cart. That's at 3 minutes 48.362. Now, that's all very well and good, but how much of a drop-off are we going to see in the wet? That's going to be the game. So we're going to take both of those vehicles. We're going to take the Formula Ultimate and we're going to take the rental cart, and we're going to do a lap of Bathurst in the most torrential, horrid rain conditions, and just see how much of a lap time drop-off there's going to be. That's going to be fun to do, and if we can keep it on the island in the Formula Ultimate, I think that'll be a win. So, without further ado, some of the ones that I've put down here, I've got a nice little list here, and we'll obviously take your guys' suggestions as well. So, let's go back to the menu, and we'll load up our first one and revisit some of this. I mean, this challenge has been epic, and we've had some good fun doing this. And who knows, we might even do it again, but with a different track, and just see how we go. Because obviously this is very much a power circuit, but also got a bit of handling involved as well. So maybe some shorter circuits. We'll see what the difference is there. So you guys got some comments going. So funky. More of a fan of the P3 4 cars, not a super high downforce fan. Yeah, the P3 and 4 cars are really good. I really like them actually on here. They're good cars to drive. If you call your Fusca attempts driving, I guess that's well. Have I got a surprise for you later on? The V8 mate as it's Bathurst, of course. Yep, the V8's going to have to be in there. So, first up is this, the Caterham 620R. Now, I was worried when we first did this car. I was thinking, oh, you know, when I drove it last time, it was just understeer city. So I was just expecting to be off in the walls all over the place, but it actually turned out to be an absolute belter of a car to drive around here, and there's going to be a nice little surprise just as we head up the mountain as well, driving this car. So unless it's been fixed, we never know, it may have done, but I'm expecting it to happen again. So this could be a fun lap. So here we go, Caterham 620R, little pocket rocket of a thing. So it's massive understeer followed by heaps of oversteer. Here we go, down to turn 1. Turn! It's even worse than I remember it. But the tyres are saying they're not quite up to temperature as well, so that's possibly to do with it. Right, get ready for liftoff. Big wheel stand over the top of the hill. Right, up towards the cutting. Let's try and get it through here without clipping Winkup's wall, which we've done. It's just a constant fight driving this thing. The thing with Caterhams is they do have a natural tendency to understeer, purely because there's a lot of lift at the front end with those cycle wings. A lot of the air gets underneath them. That causes the front end to lift, which obviously takes away your grip. So at any kind of speed, you just get up a lot of understeer. But because it's so light and has a fair amount of power, it also likes to oversteer. So you kind of have to cure the understeer issues with a bit of right foot So you can get a bit sideways out of here. Of course, all too happy to oblige. Oh, this thing is mad. You know, there's just the Fusca is a nightmare on wheels. Yes, it is. In fact, it looks like we've bent our steering wheel slightly, so it's all good. Let's get it through the end of the lap. Even though it's a really understeery car in default setting mode, it still puts a huge smile on your face just because it's... you got the word down there. Absolutely terrifying. That's so fun. I love that thing. Death Tub, says Marty. It is. I would certainly not be driving it that quick up the mountain in real life, that's for sure. So yeah, the CSR was good fun. Fusca has to be driven then. Yes, it does, and it will be driven. And I know I keep punishing myself with it, but we will drive it. So yeah, so Javier, you drove the 620R today around the Green Hell. This car dances in a fine line between fun and terrifying. Yeah, it does, absolutely. So you get that element of fun. You get one of those corners exits just right where you've got a nice little drift hill, and you're like, yes, I can do this. And then the next one is just like, right. So that was mega. Next one, which was a favourite for fairly similar reasons, was the Super Kart. So we're going to drive this one again. But yeah, just love the fact that over the hill in the caterham you just get that huge wheel stand every time. I'm not quite sure how the AI would cope with that, whether they do that as well. I've not tried that. I'll have to test that at some point. But caterham, man, it's so good, so fun. But this thing, very, very different, but just as quick. Right. You've got to have quick hands to drive this thing. Down to turn 1. Sliding around. We didn't register our lap time for the caterham, purely because I wasn't watching. But this is all just about revisiting some of these fantastic things to drive. No! Oh dear, the karts are backbreakers. They would be. I mean, if you got a motion rig, yeah, I think you would be. It would be pretty painful, especially around here if I did something like that, catching that curb. So, although the kart is moving around so much underneath me, it still heads in the general direction you want it to go. It just happens to skim over the surface like a flat stone on a lake. But it's don't touch the curb, take off over the top. So you have that little wobble, but it still goes pretty much where you want it to go, because it'll regain the grip very, very quickly indeed. So you almost just have to kind of point it to where you think it should go, ignore all the little head shakes it does, and just drive it like you would expect it to be on rails, and then you'll get away with it. But it's such a crazy machine. And of course, because you're so low down to the ground, everything looks 3 times as fast. I honestly thought I got away with that for a moment. But the curb said no. So again, a lot of representative time in the supercar, but right, it's one of those things you could just keep driving and driving and just never lose the smile on your face, because it's just that ridiculous. That was fun. Right, okay, going to do a couple of yours, and then we'll carry on with some of mine. Although some of them may cross over, we'll see. So, yeah, let's do this one first. Let's do what Bathurst is meant to do. We'll go with the V8. Let's see if we can get any better than a 208. I'm sure these guys can. I mean, the Nemesis up there with a 201, which is what we would kind of expect this thing to do, if I were quick. Or quicker. But obviously we can tinker around with the setups and make it quicker, but in default form, this thing is still good fun to drive. And I know they've been making some big changes to this, so it'll be interesting to see how it compares now. So what we were doing with this, as I reach back over, where were we? Thanks, it was at 208 I think I said, wasn't it? For this thing. Yeah, V8 Supercar 2086. So let's see if we can actually go any quicker than that. Right. Great noise from the V8 Supercar. So nice. MS2, in my opinion, has really hit the sweet spot in the last few updates. It deserves a lot more love. It does. It's very good. Very enjoyable to drive. Oh, yep, that's so cool. Classic Mini, says Frankie. Yeah, okay, I can remember that. I'll remember that. Again, a bit of wheel lift over the top of the crest there. This really is what Bathurst is all about, this thing. There's a bit of sideways action out of the cutting. Bit of a short shift just to keep the rear end sort of in check. Oh, that was close. Hanging on for dear life around there. Throw it at the dipper. The track does come back to you. Feels very nice to drive, actually. Very nice. Probably actually feels better than the last time we drove it as well. Let's see if we can finish this off nicely this lap. Up on the limiter, through the chase, hard on the brakes. So good. Great series of corners that is. This seems to make more sense driving the V8 around there as well. You're braking exactly where you expect to, rather than before the corner like you do with the Corvette. Okay, so we did go quicker. We've got a 2076 compared to our 208, so I've knocked a bit of time off there, just straight off the blocks. But yeah, Fiat Supercar, so good. Makes a great noise, and it's one of those cars where you can turn it into a corner. Yes, it will go sideways on you, but you can just hold it there and just kind of balance it through the corner. So yeah, really fun to drive. Yeah, Frank says a lot more love. People slowly coming around to it, I think. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that and race room as well. People are kind of exploring that a little bit more, which is really good. Hopefully the multiplayer update to come will bring more of the community on board. Yes, yeah, I know that it is coming. It's going to be good when that does arrive. But you know, we've had some great community races altogether. You guys have been awesome in supporting those. So yeah, it's good to get some full grids and have some fun online with it. So there we go, V8 Supercar. That's cool. So, right, you guys have alluded to the fact that it's potentially going to be coming out for a run, and I've also got it written down in my book of power. is that we're going to be running this car. For punishment or fun, regardless of what it is, it's time for the Copa Fusca. Why do I do it to myself, guys? Why do I do this? Right, so last time we did a 309. So don't be holding out for some rapid laps going on here. This is going to be just a case of survival, I reckon. Yeah, Javier, you're pretty optimistic that a lot of people will be hopping in once they introduce the ranked races. Yeah, ranked seems to be very, very popular with a lot of people. Just they like that competitive nature of things, but they also like the fact that it potentially can create some cleaner online racing, because you know there's this large perception that public online lobbies can be just a crash fest and people just turning around and driving the wrong way around, all that kind of stuff. But you can still find good public lobbies around the place, but ranked races definitely seems to have a large mass appeal by a lot of guys. So here we go then. Be afraid, be very afraid, says Funky, and with all good reason. This is the Copa Fusca. We have the engine hung over the rear and lots of weight there, no weight at the front. And again, flat corners, no problem. It'll handle it with relative ease. Introduce gradients, and it's good night. And what does Bathurst have in abundance? Lots of uphill and downhill sections. So it's the downhill sections which particularly throw this thing off its groove. Uphill, okay, you can kind of get away with purely because gravity is stopping you from doing things. But downhill, gravity is aiding certain things. And with this particular car, getting through the S's in one piece is the challenge. So rev it all the way up to the red line on the downshift, and then try and carry as much speed up the hill as we can, because you don't have much power to combat the incline. Okay, right. The ascent begins in earnest here. Let's try and maintain some momentum up the hill. Fourth gear probably wasn't the choice because all of a sudden the revs dropped, but now we can start regaining some of those revs as the downhill sections come into our favour. Well, say favour. Might not do me any favours as I come to this next section. If we get through here unscathed, Riser have fixed something. What is this? Oh, there it is. Just when you think, hang on a second, this car's driving fine. What was all the fuss about? Then that one corner comes and gets you. A Fusca will do what a Fusca will do. And that is swap ends on you without warning. Have I got 5 gears? No. But this really did heighten the challenge when we did this first time round. There's so many, well, I say so many. There's obviously the Copa Fusca, which we're driving here, and then there's the 2 versions in the in the hot car classes, which are supposedly a bit more souped up and easier to drive, but really aren't. But we had so many attempts trying to get through them. I don't care to count how many times we had to to restart the Beetles. But it provides some good entertainment, and it's become a bit of a theme on the channel. But if you ever want to drive something that's very difficult to drive, you go for one of these. The Fusca strikes back. Yes, it does. Absolutely. Oh dear. What a car. What a machine. If you want to learn to drive anything, go drive one of those first, and then everything else will be an absolute breeze. Speaking of which, let's go drive one of those absolute monsters, which in theory should really put the fear into everybody. When in reality, I'd much rather drive one of these than I would the Fusca. So this was one of the other ones on my list, the either of the Group C cars, to be honest. But the Porsche is just, I mean, look at it, it's just such a iconic shape and a really amazing car to drive. So right, let's pick up the pace. Marty, thank you for that. Yeah, if you do feel so inclined, please do hit the like button on the stream. Really appreciate that. Only if you did actually like it, of course. Don't want to force anyone to do something they don't want to do. But if you did, if you are liking it, hit the like button. It'd be amazing. Ah, the turbocharger. Wastegate chatters going on. Of course, that beautiful Porsche sound. Lift off over the top. This thing is just an absolute rocket. Oop, that's how wide it is. Always need that little gentle reminder from a concrete wall as to how wide the car is. Even through here, it's just very little drama, not so much fuss. And you can get it stopped down the hill. Is there any wonder this thing was a winning machine? That's where we came unstuck with the Fusca. I'd much rather be driven by you in one of these than the Fusca. I would too. And even there, the boost kicks in and just gives you a little bit of a kick on the rear, and from there it just launches you into the horizon. Thing. When compared with driven with a an H-pattern gearbox as well, you really do get the full experience of this thing. Just superb. Love it. Chose wisely. The C9 has some bug with the shifting and the audio, does it? Okay, I've not noticed that actually. That thing's a beast as well, but equally just as fun to drive. Yeah. Good. Good, good. Okay. Couple of other cars on my list. You prefer the Fusca, to be honest. Yeah, that's one of those things, isn't it? Even better hit the subscribe button. Yeah, absolutely. Follow Jason's example if you would like to. If you haven't yet subscribed, hit the big red subscribe button, and then you get to see us do more random stuff like this and more fun stuff. And we like to keep things fun here on the channel. We don't do anything too serious. We're not out here to show how fast we are and how amazing our setup are. We just simply love sim racing, and we want to make it as fun as possible, and you guys can come along for the journey as well, because to be honest, you are the reason why we're doing this. So if you fancy a little bit of that action, hit the subscribe button, and that'll be amazing, and we will grow our community, and we'll have some fun online together at some point as well, I'm sure. So Group C 962, perfection, absolute perfection. Right, other cars on my list which were surprising. I don't really say surprising as such in the way that I wasn't expecting it to be good. Just surprising just how much fun I actually had. I knew it was going to be good, but the Ultima Race version Oh yeah, let's just load in because this thing is just so cool. H pattern makes everything better. It does. Yeah, you gotta have an H pattern because one, of course, you get the real kind of feeling of just going through the gears and things, but the fact that you can cross-gate on the way down as well. So, for example, you're flat out in fifth gear, you hit the brakes hard, and then you can go across to third without going to fourth, and then straight back to second. It's just one of those feelings that's like, oh, amazing. Even cars that don't really have a manual, an H pattern at all. Yes. Try doing H pattern gearbox with a GTE car or something. That could be fun. I think it would be a bit confused. Right. The Ultima, with its weird shaped steering wheel, which is not entirely round, but I love this car. Short wheelbase, heaps of power, and nicely sorted as well. Really did set the timing sheets alight, this thing. I love the large mirror on the wing there as well. Get a nice view of what's coming up behind you, or what you're leaving behind you. Planted over the top of the hill. There's that curb on the inside. We want to avoid that if we can. So sorted. It got into there with very little drama. And again through there, so much grip. A little left just to get us through Reed Park. But there, I thought honestly I was going too quick into the last part of the S's, but still managed to get it stopped. And it just keeps on. It's surprising with how much grip this thing really does have. But it's just... even though those corners, you just... another gear. Oh, we have got another gear. Excellent. But yeah, those corners just keep coming up at you, and this Ultima just swallows them up. It's just... yeah, as if there's nothing there. Right, cross-gating down. Fourth. Down to second. So good. Over the line of 204, so, you know, it's right up there with the GTEs, this thing. It does sound mega, it's absolutely awesome. Really, really cool. But yeah, on pace with the slower end of the GTEs, which is one of the reasons this thing was so surprising. It's just so quick. Absolutely awesome. So, what have we got? Some guys will be mentioning. So how to buy a manual these days? Yeah, there's not many options in terms of an H pattern gearbox, but there are some decent ones out there. Javier says, if my Fanatec shifter had more gears, I would drive the Formula Ultimate with H pattern. You can only go up to 7, I think, on the Fanatec, can't you? At least in your budget, yeah. SHH from Spain. Sometimes they're waiting. Yeah, I've heard those are really good. They look really good. I've heard they're actually quite a nice feeling shifter as well. Funky says the Ultimate Race was my go-to car in the early days of MS2. I overlook it now. I should give it a go again. Yeah, it's one of those ones. It was in the original pack of cars that we got for MS2, and yeah, we drove it all, and then new stuff comes out, and you don't tend to go back to some of the old ones, but sometimes you really need to because this is so good. Yeah, like the mirrors in this one, Marty. Any stadium trucks? No, there aren't. There are. There's big rigs. There's some of these, but there'll be no jumping these involved, I don't think. Right. Next one then, which was a little bit of a surprise to me in terms of how nice it drove. Now this one is not one to set the world on fire in terms of lap time again. But this, the Puma P052, actually turned out to be really nice to drive. So we're going to revisit that one again, just to see if it is actually still the case, and that I wasn't delirious with how many laps of Bathurst I'd done by the point I actually got to drive this thing. But it should be still fun to drive, I reckon. 5-speed H pattern, low power, 165 brake, turbocharged I think this one is, from memory. But it actually really is quite a fun little thing. And again, it actually sounds really good as well. Bit of understeer on cold tyres into the final corner there. There were stadium trucks on the original AMS, and I'm wondering whether that's going to make an appearance again at some point. Maybe in the USA packs, we never know. That'd be fun. But yeah, so this thing, in a straight line, obviously it's not particularly quick, but fifth gear is just so long, it almost makes no sense using it. But the rear end comes around and it makes it quite exciting through the corners. There we go. Managed to keep it flat out because the car is not particularly quick around that first bit. Hey Rocket League. Did the new update come out? No, it hasn't done, but this is just merely housekeeping from the challenge we did back in April. So we've finished off our challenge with the latest additions in terms of cars to AMS2. Crunch. Keep it in bounds, there we go. Third. Keep it into the right and then chuck it left. Somehow missed that wall on the inside. But nice feedback through the wheel on this car as well, actually. Good weight. And now we get to see just how fast we can actually get with the downhill section into fifth gear. Let's see if we can actually build some revs back up again. Come on. Can we get up near the rev limiter? Maybe. No. We're about 150. Because of the difference in the ratios. Rev the thing to death when you go down to third. But even through there, it's just kind of just nicely just floating through the corners. But yeah, really fun little car. And I think on the shorter circuits, this thing could be a good good car to throw around in a group, in a race session. So that was one that was a little bit of a welcome surprise to drive. And this next one that we're going to do, I think, is not really going to be much of a surprise to anyone, purely because it's very well known for being simply awesome. Of course, it's this, the Pro car, the M1 Pro car. Screaming six-cylinder goodness, if I can get my words out. This thing, I mean, it really doesn't need much of an introduction, does it? It's just looks amazing, sounds fantastic, and is just such an epic drive. So we had to revisit it in our greatest hits just to drive it one more time. Any excuse to drive the Pro car is always a good excuse. So here we go. turn one, turn it in, a little bit understeery, but that's okay, the tyres will come to us. Let's let the thing sing up the hill. And it looks just over 8,000 RPM. Big understeer again, but that's me not slowing it down properly. Again, it's one of those cars you can get sideways but still hold it. It doesn't get away from you too easily. Oop, that's a bit ambitious, trying to take it that quickly down the hill. And remember, this is slightly older technology, even though it has got some aero to it. The howl is just so good. So heavy. This one feels so nice to drive when compared with the M1 and Rally 2. That thing is just bonkers. Yeah, I've not really driven much of that in there. I don't really consider it to be much of a rally car, so I've just kind of stayed away from it. But I should try it out. I should try it out. Flat out through the chase, hard on the brakes. Understeer again. A nice slide out of it just to really put a smile on your face. It's funky. Says if I had to be stuck in a decade, it would be the 70s. Great cars, great music and films. Yeah, that's a good choice. Seeing as we've got so many BMWs in game, it'd be nice to get a 3-litre CSL in here as well. That'd be really cool. Maybe go up against the RSR in that kind of category. Be all up for that. Frank coming up Forest Elbow. Yeah, we made it through somehow. 70s not so good for computer games though. No. Pioneering days. So yeah, M1 Pro car. Really, really cool. Okay, so let's have a look and see what else. Any other suggestions out there before we move on to our next section? Any other suggestions? You had the classic Mini Funky before, didn't you? So let's do that, because you guys have been suggesting some things. And a gas shortage. Yeah. Yeah, there's a few good things and bad things about the different eras, I suppose. But the great thing about sim racing is we get to experience all of these eras and not pay the repair bills when we get it wrong, especially in the Corvettes or the Beetles or even the Group C cars if we get it wrong in there. So here we go, classic Mini. Plenty of power going on here in terms of keeping the throttle pinned. Second gear is not the one to that. Excuse me. Right. Plenty of third gear and fourth gear action going on around here, I reckon. A fair bit of body roll as well. So I was quite surprised when we drove this car. Obviously it's put up against the Lotus, and we were actually pretty quick in the Lotus, and I was hoping to keep that lap time as being the one that really mattered on the leaderboards. But we did end up going quicker in the Mini. And I do love the Mini as well. Getting third going up the hill. And the lift off oversteer. Caught us out. Should space to turn this thing around. The form the rim not helping me out, just the using the bumpers. That's what they're there for, I suppose. Right, could be aware of that then. I don't remember having this much trouble last time we drove the Mini around here. There's been some changes made. Love that you can see the extinguisher pull handles through the windscreen there. The thing does move around quite a bit underneath it. Over the top of the crest. I think the trick is not to be too abrupt in taking your foot off the pedal, the accelerator pedal, because that's where all the upsets happen. And try and keep the back end in check, which doesn't happen very often. Try and do my best Endaf Owens impression. Sliding this thing through the chicane. 5-point turn in the Mini, yeah, no, unheard of. Okay, I haven't got a fifth gear to reach for anyway, so I'll just leave it in fourth and just let it hit the rev limiter. But again, the Bathurst circuit for the Mini, probably not the circuit that it would revel in. Definitely need a bit of practice to get this thing round cleanly. So for a front wheel drive car it still puts up a bit of a fight. So get your recommendations in if there's any other ones you want to see us do for a lap time around Bathurst from the ones that we've already done. Get them in, and we'll pick a couple more. The Mini. It's proved to be a lot more difficult than I was expecting it to be. Right. Just checking, making sure I haven't got any other ones on my list, which we've not done yet, which I haven't. And somehow we're the only one to set a lap time in the Mini around Bathurst. Don't quite know why that is, but I'll take a world record on that stage, considering it was a 321 with a 5-point turn. I don't expect that to last very long on the leaderboard as being the top spot, but nevertheless, it's a win in my book so far. So yeah, I mean, there's so many of the single-seaters as well, which, you know, will have their own little quirks and benefits as well. So I'll tell you what, we didn't do any GT1s, did we? So let's choose ourselves a GT1 car to go with. We've driven a Porsche this evening. We haven't driven a Merc. I reckon we can do a bit of a McLaren F1, which was a good fun car to drive around here as well. So for the next challenge, as mentioned earlier, what we're going to do is we're going to take the fastest and the slowest vehicles that we did in our challenge overall, and we're going to put them to the test in the wet and just see how they get on, what the difference in lap time will be from dry to wet. Okay, so Funky's got the P3 Rocco, and Marty's gone with the Cobra truck. I think it's P3. Yeah, the Rocco's P3. Before that, McLaren F1 GTR, central driving position, V12 soundtrack. A long tail body with plenty of aero. Listen to that bark with that V12. Awesome. You've seen there's the new car by Gordon Murray with a bit of Brabham fan car inspired action on the technical side. That thing sounds pretty crazy with its V12. This thing is really cool, nicely planted over the top of the hill so far. So planted, I turned in there thinking I needed to do so, but it actually did it anyway. It was too early. Oh dear me, just throw it into the dipper. Quickly down through the gears, up through the gears, down the hill. Should have 6 gears, I think. Yep. One way to find out, just put it in there and see what happens. Right, to the chase we go. This thing is just an absolute weapon. Hop on the curb, but we're through. Up over the line for 202. For some 90s GT action. Right, so we're going to do these last two, and then we're going to go on to our final challenge. So P3 Rocco, and then one of the Cobra trucks, just to finish us off. And then, yeah, we'll do our wet weather challenge. So I'm pretty sure it is a P3 car, Funky, so let's do that. There you go, the Rocco 001. This thing is a very interesting looking contraption. It doesn't look like you would expect a regular prototype to look. It looks it's very unique, but then it's yeah. It's one of the cars that you look at it and think, I'm not going to drive that. Why would I want to drive that? And then you drive it, and it's just like, oh, now I know why I want to drive this. Here we go, with our massively oversized gear shift indicator and a big red button, which I can only imagine symbolises danger. So we shall leave that unpressed. Either that, or either that looks like a handset receiver for a CB radio. breaker 1 2. It's communicating with the drivers on track. So tiny little open top yoke steering wheel. Just about held that out of the wall. Car moves around quite a bit, but it's still good. Nicely balanced. So these P3, P4 cars, as Funky was saying, really nice to drive. They've got a good amount of aero to power ratio. So that still makes them interesting to drive without being completely stuck to the ground. There's a very tight line into the forest elbow. Actually, it's like a Mad Max designed Formula 3 car, yeah. I think it is based around Formula 3 actually, from memory. Lift it out to 6th gear. Take around 150. A bit too early actually. Just sliding everywhere. On the board. Over the curve in the grass. 216 on the board with the Rocco. That's a fun car. I mean, it is okay. It's not the prettiest prototype car you'll ever see, but it really does you know, you can, yeah, Funky, you're exactly right. You can drive them at pretty much any track and and enjoy driving it as well. So very cool. Right, and to finish us off this section of the greatest hits of our Challenge the Mountains challenge so far is one of these Copa trucks. So yeah, let's go with. They've all got the ridiculous splitters on the front. Let's go with the man truck. Only real men drive these trucks, apparently. So we did a losing my voice, 243.8 last time we drove this truck. I believe that was before they fixed them. I know there was an update made on them and they were a little bit more drivable afterwards. So maybe we'll lower that time, who knows. But this is all just about exhibition, and all of a sudden we can see over the fences and get a good view of the other parts of Mount Panorama Bathurst you wouldn't normally see from your supercart. So the first and second gear in this truck are exactly the same, so we'll mostly be using third gear and lots of throttle pedal to rotate the car. Now, truck. There's also an issue originally with these things where the tyre temps would just go through the roof, so we'll have to see if that's still there, because that could make coming down the hill quite a challenge. There you can see into that guy's vineyard. Turn. Very different driving style needed for these things. The other thing about these trucks is you can see over the wall to where you would fall if you went through it. The tyres squealing away underneath us. Turn. More riding a little bit. Down the hill. Forget how wide these things are. Turn. These things are not made for Bathurst, I will put that out there. Oh dear. I think they finally come around to the animating the actual driving one on the legs. Don't remember which one though. Oh, okay. Sure which one that is. Of course, in the real world series, this Cobra truck is limited to, I believe, 100 miles an hour, whereas here we can go whatever speed we want to go. Just a drift fest through here. Stopping distances are pretty long, and we're over the line where we are a good 5 seconds or 4 seconds off our quickest time with that thing, so no lap record set for us there. Those things are just chaos, aren't they? Right, so final segment then. Take our fastest car, take our slowest kart, put them in the wet, and let's see what kind of a difference we can make to the lap time. So obviously we can't do that in time trial mode because that's just fixed at glorious sunshine. So we're going to have to go test day mode. We are beautiful Mini. So we'll go slowest first, and we will then take the Formula Ultimate out for the final one. So the rental kart, again, not the natural habitat for the rental kart at Bathurst. But nevertheless, it was still deserving of being taken around the track. So we're going to do this in thunderstorm mode, because that guarantees us the absolute poorest weather conditions you can possibly imagine. So if we're going to do this properly, we're going to do this properly. So then, the rental kart, a 348 in the dry, very little lifts made on the throttle. Will that still be the case in the wet? It's just a case of getting it up the hill, I think, is the main issue here. So here we are. Oh, not the weather to be out in a kart. You would just not bother going during your local kart track if it was like this. So of course the issue with this is we have to go around and do an out lap before we can actually get back to the start line to start our time lap. What that does do is it gives us a chance to actually get a feel for the kart and get some kind of temperature in the tyres, which might be nice by the time we get to the top. But it gives us plenty of time to kind of sit back and relax and just take in our surroundings and the beauty of the thunderstorm which we're in. Gareth, if you fancy making yourself another brew, now might be the time to do it. You'll have plenty of time by the time we get back to the finish line to start our lap. If we were looking earlier on at a more relaxed drive in the Corvette street car, this is positively hibernation in comparison. You can just switch off, take a hand off the wheel, sit back, relax, and yeah, just take in the scenery. So far I haven't lifted, still haven't lifted, but the revs dropped significantly through there. I really am interested to see what kind of a difference it would make to the lap times with this thing, because most of the time you spent full throttle. That was a nice fork of lightning. So I'm curious to see how much of a drop off there will be. I don't think there will be much. There'll definitely be one, quite a large one for the Formula Ultimate, I would reckon. For this, maybe not. That's where the experiment comes into play. Stay off the curbs though. That's probably a wise choice. Getting some revs back again. We're up to 94, 95 kph, I think that's it. 50 miles an hour when we're doing that in an electric car. Stay away from those puddles as well. More chance of a lottery winner getting tempered with those tyres. Right, this is where the only lifting really kind of comes into play, because you start picking up a little bit too much speed. All of a sudden you have to put your hand back on the wheel and try and control the thing. That's the probably feels like the quickest I've gone round Forest Hill. We're all leaving, and then we get another break as we go down the straight. Yeah, there's no temp having in these tyres and stuff like that. Even if I do some weaving. What a rotten day this looks like in the weather. I want some of that lighter stuff in the distance. Such is the fact that this particular kart is not well geared or well suited for Bathurst. They don't even keep the leaderboard times for this kart on AMS2, so even if we did go around here in an incredibly rapid time, it wouldn't be recorded anyway, because one, I might go off track like that, but two, they don't even record the tyres. So maybe we might have to lift for the chase next time on our fast lap. Some good research done there. Okay, so we're now coming up to start our fast lap. Oh, so fast. Start our lap. The track feels wider than last drive. Yeah, it's as if they added a few extra meters to their overall track width. Okay. Hill corner number 1. Little dab of brakes just to make sure we didn't run off track. That would be nothing worse than ruining our laptop by going off track, so we'll try and avoid that. Now the ascent begins again. The engine RPM drop. We'll get a little bit of a boost as we go underneath the Fanatec bridge, just enough to get us up to turn 2. There we go. A few kph. Right, now the concentration starts again. Let's try and be as smooth as we can, not scrub off as much speed as we can. Still drops about 10 kilometers an hour just by turning the wheel. Already a minute into our lap. We've already done 2 corners, 3 corners now. 4-stroke lawnmower engine working overtime to try and haul our kart and us up the hill. To 73 kilometers an hour, come on, let's go. Picking up again. There's the puddle in the middle of the track there, don't want to be anywhere near that. Okay, flat out through here, of course. It's a good way of getting a really good look at the track surface here at Bathurst. Make a note of that for when we take the Formula Ultra around there, so we can puddle on the exit there, which could cause us some troubles. Right, now then, let's try and be careful through here. I say careful. Just throw it in there. Okay, here we go. Trying to carry as much speed as I could through that. Running a little bit wide towards the wall. Okay. This time we stay off the curb at the inside of the chase. And we should be able to finish this lap off. Approaching the 3-minute mark. What did I say we were on with this thing? Look down because I've got time. 3:48, so we've got a decent amount of time to get to the end, but we've still got a fair amount of track to cover at a really quite slow speed, so let's see if we can do this. How ironic would it be if we actually get a quicker lap time in the wet than we did in the dry? It's going to be so gentle with the inputs, because obviously the car doesn't have a lot of steering lock going on, so any inputs makes a big difference. Okay, one more corner to go. It's about the same time as doing a proper track walk. So 3:59. Okay. So let's make a note of this then. So we have gone slower, actually quite a bit slower than we were. So we were 3:59, almost into the 4-minute bracket. 0.471. So it's 11 seconds slower in the wet, even though we're mostly going flat out. It's interesting. I honestly didn't think it'd be as much as that, but well, it's a good test. So, is it going to be as much slower in the Formula Ultimate, or is it going to be less slower? Let's find out. So, let's go find it first. Where is it? Formula Ultimate. Here we are with our nice green fluoro livery. Again, doing this in Thunderstorm. 8-speed sequential gearbox. Don't have enough on my H pattern for that. don't think I'll put DRS on actually. I'll have it disabled in the rain. So yeah, once again we'll get a an outlap just to figure things out. Let's make sure we are actually on wet tyres. It says automatic by weather, but sometimes I'm not so sure. Okay. Formula Ultimate. Significant speed difference. Let's just take it a bit easy to start us off. This wheel spin everywhere. It's going to be significantly slower, I reckon. Ooh. Be careful with the right foot. Still pretty quick, even in the rain. Oh, there's that puddle. Oh dear. It's definitely in the slow corners where we're going to lose out the most. Just trying to get the power down in the first place is the tricky bit. Okay, so not too bad for an outlap. Even though it's sliding around an awful lot, it's still fairly recoverable, really. Here we go. Smashing through the gears constantly. A brake for turn 2 here. Just about kept that going in the right direction. Bogs down in third gear with some traction control. I don't think it just seems to just not go. I don't want to go down to second gear because that'll just be absolute chaos. Keep it tight on the exit there to avoid that puddle, that's it. There's this wheel spin everywhere. Does anything else even beat this in the wet? That's a good question. Let's see what the lap time is. Let's see if there's anything that will beat it. That's not the way through this last corner, but even so, we still lodged at 148. That was quick. So 148.8. No, 48 dead. Okay. So 137 was the time in the dry for the Formula Ultimate, and that's a 148. So again, someone else joining in behind on the road. Again, it's 11 seconds slower, pretty much exactly the same in the in both cars. So that's interesting. Even with the aero and all the other stuff going on, that was yeah, quite interesting to see that actually, both similar time differences in the wet. So yeah, very, very interesting. Style points for the last corner. Thanks, Javier. Managed to hold on to it. But yeah, that thing's mad in the wet. It really is. So yeah, Funky, you want to know if there's anything else in the dry. Let's go find the overall leaderboard, which I put up, and we'll let you know what the next best time was in the dry. Let's go back through here. Okay, so was that 148? Okay, so yeah, the Formula Ultima was actually only marginally quicker than the Formula V10. So a Formula Ultima in the wet at 148 would put it eighth overall on the leaderboard, even in the wet. So a lot of the other single seaters in the dry were quicker than it still, but yeah, even still, with the wet weather involved, P8 on a dry leaderboard. If everyone else was running in the dry, that was 8th quickest. Very impressive indeed. But then we know that these Formula Ultimates are just speed machines. But so there we go. So that was our little bit of housekeeping in terms of our Conquer the Mountain challenge. Hope you enjoyed that. We finished off the new cars which have been released, and we've added them to the overall leaderboard, and we'll get that leaderboard up on our social media as well, so you can kind of have a good look all over it. And we've done a few of our favourites from the whole challenge, and of course this little extra challenge at the end as well. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. Enjoyed that. We should probably do another one, but at a different circuit. So let us know in the comments below as well, and in the chat. Let me know if there's another circuit that you think might be a really good challenge. I know obviously there's the Nordschleife, but that would just take forever to go through. But something else that you think is a track in AMS2 which is slightly different maybe in its layout, and let me know, and we'll see if we can get it done. But there we go. So that was that fun challenge that we have managed to complete, and looking forward to seeing what other new cars we can throw onto that list at some point as well. We'll do another catch up once we've had some more cars to play with. But yeah, so if you have enjoyed the stream, please do consider hitting the like button and subscribing as well. That would be amazing. Thanks, Frank. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Good to have you with us. No worries, Frankie. Thanks for joining us again. And Marty as well. Yeah, very welcome. Good fun. Thanks for your comments as well, guys. I mean, having you guys commenting on the stream is really, really fun. It's nice to know that you're enjoying what we do. And we will see you all very, very soon indeed, of course. Keep your eyes out. We might be doing another stream this week at some point. Or if not, there will definitely be a video coming out soon as well. But take care of yourselves, everybody. Nice to see you all again this evening, and we will catch you on track very soon indeed. But for now, goodbye from me. Have a good rest of your week.